There's nothing more shiny than giving yourself back time through automation or AI.
Hey squirrels, welcome to AvyHD, where ADHD isn't some clinical diagnosis, it's just life. I'm Avy, your always honest tour guide through this beautiful mess. Over here, we're not about fixing yourself. We're about figuring out how to actually enjoy your life as you are. So grab a snack and let's go. Entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners, we wear all the hats, we juggle 1,000 ideas and somehow pull off the impossible until we crash. If that sounds familiar, you might be working with ADHD without even realizing it. But what if you could run your business at full speed without running yourself into the ground? Today, we have Will Christensen, an automation and efficiency expert who has helped many entrepreneurs streamline their workload using his automate, delegate, eliminate framework. And the best part is that this isn't about productivity hacks. It's about leveraging the way your brain already works to build a system that finally works for you. Will is the founder of Entrepreneur's Apprentice and co-founder of Data Automation. He's a Zapier certified expert with deep expertise in workflow optimization. He's also the creator of the 15-1-1-5 rule, a game-changing method for identifying what tasks to automate or delegate so you can focus on what actually moves the needle in your business. Welcome, Will.
Hey, it's good to be here.
It's awesome to have you. I have met so many entrepreneurs who are constantly in go mode, or maybe like go mode, operating just on instinct and like chasing new ideas, and somehow they make things happen, weirdly enough. But the moment I mention that you might have ADHD, they're like, no, I don't have ADHD. I just work really well under pressure. So what are some signs that you see that, maybe you're unknowingly working with ADHD tendencies?
I think one of the first things that I see from people that kind of clues me into the fact that, wait a second, do you have ADHD? It's when we get on a call and we can vibe almost instantaneously. Yeah. Like it's all of a sudden what I'm saying and what you're saying line up to the point where everybody's like, holy crap, like, were you guys best friends since childhood?
Are you the same person? Yes, actually, we're all the same person. I don't know what to tell you.
So that's one thing that keys me into it because I have ADHD. Another thing that keys me into it is when I hear or see a pattern of like being late to phone calls, constantly late. Like there's, and it doesn't matter that you're 39 years old and you've practiced this for, how long has it been that I've been responsible? I guess I don't remember when I became responsible.
10 days.
It has been 10 days since I swallowed the responsible pill, the blue pill or the red pill.
On your journey.
Yes. It's crazy to me. Another thing that I see as an entrepreneur is if you haven't looked at your profit and loss statement in the last year, 6 months, month, like there's so many people that I know who are like, profit and loss, that is so boring. Like the last thing I want to do, like I can't believe I'm admitting this on a public podcast. I have not had access to my QuickBooks for like 4 months. My assistant has access and she can send invoices and she looks at it. My accountant has access and my bookkeeper has access. There have been a couple of moments these past couple of months where I've been like, man, I really should get in there and look around. And I can't figure out how to get in because I forgot that I was supposed to. Anyway, long and the short of it, if you're having a hard time keeping track of some of those minute details and
minute, like the entire finances of your life. Totally.
Yes, that's minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, I feel you. It does feel minute. I'm like, literally, I'm trying to change the entire world. Do you think I care about my bank account right now?
Exactly.
I have stuff to do.
Exactly.
My bank account will figure it out.
My bank account will figure itself out. Yeah. I mean, if I keep doing the right things, my bank account will figure itself out. That's not a trap that every single ADHD individuals probably walked right into.
It's possible that it's magical. Sorry, y'all, we're going on a tangent. It's possible that that's magical thinking, but I'm not convinced that it's magical thinking until I've disproven it.
Yes.
Right? So, maybe I'm delusional unless it's true, in which case,
The other thing I will say is I get on phone calls with people and they're like, all of a sudden tangenting, like right in the middle of their sentence. They're like, wait. And they look up to the side and they've got this look in their eye. And I'm like, are you looking at a squirrel right now? Because it sure looks like you're looking at a squirrel right now, because that's essentially what you just did. Squirrel. Oh, right. Yeah. Like
we call our audience, we are squirrels.
Hey, we are squirrels. Hey, squirrels. Yes. That my family actually has a running joke where we'll be like mid-sentence and then all of a sudden we'll be like, squirrel. And the whole room will look wherever the squirrel was, because we all have ADHD. And yeah, wait, what? Huh? Oh, you were screwing with us again. Okay, got it.
It works every time. It's like leaving the house and coming back and your dog's like, you're back, except we're humans.
Wait a second. Do dogs have ADHD?
I think that's why, we understand.
Why we jive.
Right? But not all dog breeds.
I would agree with you.
My dog definitely has ADHD, but I don't consider it ADHD. It's just high discernment. So she'll be fetching something and then she'll catch the ball and bring it halfway back and be like, I'm good, and go do something else. Which, from the outside call it ADHD, but I just think that she's discerning about where she places her energy. And I could say the same for ADHDers.
Yes, I have a lot of discernment about where I place my ADHD energy.
But what do you do if you aren't so discerning about your energy yet? Tell us a little bit about the 15115.
Yeah, so 15115 is actually a framework that I came up with for myself and for my clients. They were constantly coming to me and saying, hey, well, what should I automate? What should I automate? What should I automate? What should I automate? And I was like,
you're like, stop saying the same thing so many times in a row. Let me think.
Well, it was actually like 7 different people in a row.
Right.
And when the 7 different people, when the 7th said, what should I automate? My brain went, that's a pattern. Took 7 times before I saw the pattern. That's a pattern. Well, I like those of you with ADHD who maybe know it or don't. I'm really good at improving, on a call. If somebody's like, what should I automate? I got an answer. It may not be a great answer, but I got an answer. And I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Think of bullshit there.
Yeah. After the 4th or 5th time answering this question, what I found actually is that my brain, that's when it gets best at coming up with solutions. And so the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time I answered this question, I started telling people, well, you need to find something in your life that takes more than 15 minutes a day, more than an hour a week, more than an hour a month. That's what you're looking for. And the reason you're looking for them in those veins is because our brains think in swaths of repeatability. So is this something I have to do daily, weekly, or monthly? If you think about your life, you could literally put the chores, I know I just lost half the podcast when I said that word, chores. We just lost, poof, the listeners just dropped off.
Okay, but we have a solution for you.
We have a solution. Come back. Weekly, daily, monthly, daily, weekly, monthly, daily, weekly, monthly. That's our whole life. Now, there are things that don't fit into daily, weekly, monthly. Those are the unique one-time things that we are like, oh my gosh, this would be so cool if. Please don't try to automate that.
Well, like someone picks up my car and takes it to the mechanic once every 6 months?
Yes, don't try to automate that. Don't try to automate that. That's a delegatable task. You get an assistant, a home assistant. So, I have a home assistant. She comes to my house twice a week. She helps us with all sorts of weird crap. And taking my car into the mechanic is one of them.
Yep.
So that sort of thing is kind of the nature of the beast. But remember, if you try to automate that thing that's shiny right in front of you right now, you will get burnt out because you'll spend 8 hours automating it. And then you'll come back and be like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do that again. I didn't save myself any time. And so that's 15115 is literally about 15 minutes a day, an hour a week, or an hour a month. And if it's not something that fits into one of those three, do not automate. And then the last 5 is do it 5 times manually. So my challenge to each of you is to go find the new random place that you've started writing down notes, because we never write down notes in new places on my phone or sticky notes or walls or everything else. Like, go find that new wherever the new shiny spot is that you're writing down notes. Write 15115 and draw a line underneath it, like you're going to make a list. 15115. And then, and underneath that list, every time you run across something in your life that takes more than 15 minutes a day, more than an hour a week, or more than an hour a month, you're going to write down that thing on your list. And then next to it, you're going to put a dash and 5 tally marks. Once you've done it 5 times manually, that's when you can allow your ADHD brain to go down the rabbit hole of it's time to automate.
Because you have enough information at that point.
Bingo. And so what I've discovered is that most of us are like, oh, this happens every day. I'm going to automate it right now. And they've gone in and they've done it. And it only started happening every day yesterday. And so it's only happened twice. So, you've only had like almost zero exposure to the if-thens that are going to happen inside that. So you'll automate it. You're like, sweet, this is great. And then on day 3, it breaks. And you're like, what? How did it break? Well, you didn't think about that there's this customer who has this really weird, unique use case that doesn't fit all of the other people who came through your pipeline because you didn't have a process around how they come into your pipeline to begin with. So 15115. And it's interesting because describing this to you, Avi, I am now realizing just how much this is an ADHD hack versus a business hack for the general masses. Because I've actually talked to lots of neurotypical people who look at me like, huh? And I've always wondered, like, why are you saying, huh? This is brilliant. And then I talk to people who with ADHD and they're like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. So I think this really is about stopping you from the rabbit hole. We are so good at rabbit holes. This is about giving yourself a minimum amount of resistance to going down the rabbit hole, because there is nothing more shiny than giving yourself back time through automation or AI. It is like we've all been down this rabbit hole. We've all been there. And then you fall in
love with your psychiatrist and lose your mind and put it on the internet for all of us to watch.
Yes, exactly. This is what people are doing all the time. So for me, this is the gateway, or the minimum amount of resistance I give myself for automating things. Because if it's not a repeatable thing, well, why am I automating it?
Right. We need, our brains have less synaptic pruning than the neurotypical brain, which means that we intake a lot more information and we keep a lot more information, which also means that our minds are like very weird places full of bouncing stuff. But if you give us enough information at a certain point, we're going to figure it out. And I think it's interesting because I think that where your neurotypical clients are going to hit a wall is they weren't necessarily going to figure out the solution themselves. And we kind of assume that if there's a problem to be solved, I'm going to be the one to solve it and I'm going to delegate the solution. But a lot of people delegate the problem solving process. And I know that for you and me, that wouldn't work.
That's actually fascinating that you say it that way, because I absolutely agree with you. What you just described actually touches on another framework that I'm currently working on. I call it systems designers, systems builders, and systems followers. And so this is something that I've been kind of, she's like, whoa, I get this. Designers are the people who like to get into the nitty gritty of what's going on and understand it more fully, do it 2 or 3 times, and then be done with it. They're like, I figured out how to turn that wheel 2 or 3 times. I'm done. I don't need to do that anymore. Well, what I discovered is that doing it 2 or 3 times is not a business. Doing it 2 or 3 times does not a business make. Unfortunately,
it does a bankruptcy make, however.
Especially because it took you like $2 million to do it twice. Now, what I've found is that if you take a section of that $2 million or whatever you've got to invest in it, energy, time, money, all of the above, and you find yourself a systems builder, or you force yourself to wear the systems builder hat just long enough that the thing now is done 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 times, well, then I can actually write down a standard operating procedure. I know that's like a swear word in the, we don't really, SOP is a 3-letter word. It is. But
not at Alisto.
But if you can find yourself a systems builder who is willing to take the garbly-gunk that's coming out of your head, the 3 times you did it, and turn that into a repeatable system, that's when things get really exciting, because that repeatable system, they're like, oh, okay, I've seen this now. Okay, I've seen this now. Okay, I've seen this now. And then they write it down in such a way that someone who likes checklists, I know there's another, that should be a 3-letter word. It's longer than 3, but it should be. My wife likes checklists. And every time she does, I throw up a little bit in my mouth. I'm like, oh, checklist?
Okay. Some of the best ones are freaks.
Checklist. I don't like checklists. If I can get it to the point where someone who likes checklists will do it, I never have to do it again.
Right.
And so that's where this systems designer, systems builder, systems follower, that's who I call the people that are down at the bottom of that pipeline. Those guys are amazing. I've got great systems followers inside my company. And guess what? They follow. I tell them, hey, is that written down in the SOP? And they're like, no, it's not. I'll add it. And they actually follow it next time. It's like, how do you get the mental energy to go back and look at the thing you wrote down before about how to do something? I don't understand that. Like,
you would never have the mental energy for that. That's why you're a system designer.
Bingo. And so when you're looking to hire, so my framework is automate, delegate, eliminate. So we just did a perfect segue from automate, 15115, to delegate. And delegate is where you start. You've done it 5 times manually, and it's changed enough times in those 5 times manually that you're realizing, a human brain or an AI brain probably needs to be put into the middle of this process so that it can actually be figured out to where it goes. So you delegate it instead of automate it in that situation. And eventually the delegatee, the person who receives it, may come back to you and say, well, I think this is actually automatable. Here, look at these patterns. And you're like, oh, there's 3 different ways to handle this. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's automate that. So automate, delegate. Last one is eliminate. And eliminate is like, should we just stop doing this entirely? Is this actually helping us in any way, shape, or form? My life has followed this pattern. Automate. Now I'm in the middle. I actually am on the tail end of delegate. I've mastered that. I've got people right and left who are telling me I'm the best boss they've ever had. Like that was actually an interesting moment. I literally had a guy come to me and say, Will, I just feel like you really care. And I was like, I do really care.
I do really care.
and
bingo.
and beyond that, I get what this is. Like, I even had an apprentice who came to me and said, hey, I know this next month is crazy. We've had different cash flow issues with Entrepreneur's Apprentice. I'm willing to forego my invoice this month because I care that much about your business. And I was like, excuse me? So apprentices are a breed of their own. And if you want to go hire an apprentice, that's a systems builder. So that's not a systems follower. That's someone who's creative enough that they're going to figure it out. But if you try to take that systems builder and you put them into that role forever, they will burn out. This is someone who's creative enough that they're not a systems follower. They're not a someone who likes to check the checkboxes. They're someone who likes to make the checkboxes.
You have to give them something new.
Exactly. But in order to do that, you have to have a systems follower who's taking things off of their plate. And that's how the business scales. And so the delegation framework that I have is systems designer, systems builder, systems follower. And it flows down that way. And you have to find people who are willing to sit in each of those seats, or the business never scales, because the systems designer never gets freed enough to actually fix anything. And the systems builder never gets put in there, or they get locked into this place of they've figured it out. And for you, it's 3 times, 4 times. If I've done it 3 or 4 times, I don't want to do it anymore. For a systems builder, they want to do it like 100 times, and then they never want to do it again. And whenever I hear that, you want to do it 100 times, I'm always like, I don't know how you do that. Like, why? I like optimizing it. They'll say, I like shifting the little things to make it so that it's as efficient as it can possibly be. And I'm like, I'm really glad you like that, because I hate that.
There's someone here laughing behind the camera because that she's like, but it's a little better over, and then
Yes. And then once you get it to that point, you take someone who really, like my wife will actually tell you she doesn't have a creative bone in her body, which isn't true, because you put her in the right category of things, watercolor, other things like that. She definitely is very creative. But when it comes about process and some of these other pieces, creativity's never been her strongest suit. Her strongest suit is get it done.
Yeah.
Check it off. And so that's kind of the framework for delegation to find who's going to help you. So 15115 to find all the things you should be automating, delegating, eliminating, and then put yourself in the shoe of systems designer, systems builder, systems follower, so that you can actually scale the processes out.
I absolutely love that way of thinking about it, because in terms of Alisto, I'm the systems designer. We have some system builders on our team, each one in their own kind of area of expertise. And as we build out different products and launch them, and that's how we do things. We build a product, we launch it. We build a product, we launch it. So I ideate, I come up with whatever, I get a bunch of feedback. My brain presents me something fully developed. It's like, here, an idea. And I'm like, cool. I write it down. I build it out. I spend 12 hours with it. I do my whole thing, hand over 90 pages of whatever to my operations person, who's my systems builder. And then I forget about it, because she's going to do things on her own timeline. And if I mess with her stuff, I'm going to break everything, because I'm a breaker. Toddlers, we're very excited, but we break our toys a lot, and we're fun, but
we break stuff.
So, and then everyone else is a systems follower, which is fantastic. And when we bring in clients, people who need full teams, that's why we love working with people like you, is we can just be your system followers forever and ever. We do it happily, but you have to have that kind of clarity of vision without burning out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I found that's fascinating, is if you can understand what you're looking for, systems follower, systems builder, systems designer, and sometimes you might be looking for a systems designer to lead a department, right? Like if you can really put yourself in those shoes of okay, what is really needed to make this happen next? That's where things really get exciting, because it opens up all the realms of, okay, what's needed to be done next. And so using a service like yours or like mine to help you find a systems builder or a systems designer is key to the whole process. We actually should talk partnerships after this as well, because I'm partnering with another VA company, and I actually have a package that includes a systems builder and a systems designer together. Cool. So they start on the same day. You get in there and you start doing your 15115, you start seeing those things, hand it over to the systems builder. As soon as the systems builder gets it 100 times over, they hand it over to the systems follower, and we just dive in. And so things like email, calendaring, these are not things that a new system needs to be designed around. Now, if you're like me and you have ADHD, or you think you might have ADHD, or you're in denial, if one of those three things applies to you, you probably will want to design some sort of system around your calendar, because you've got to make it work with your brain. And I found that nobody's system works with my brain right out the gate, but I need somebody to go put crap in the wrong places so that I can be like, no, it needs to look like this. I actually really appreciate it when they'll go in and mess it up. I found that it's just about getting a start on the process. So email, calendar, you don't need a systems builder for that portion, unless you run into a situation where you got to redesign the process because you like redesigning processes, in which case you probably want a systems builder to be the VA at the beginning, to the point where there's a 90-page document that describes exactly how everything should be done. It's been done way more than 5 times manually, and it can be handed to a systems follower to handle.
How do you sort of handle that overwhelm of starting. Because I don't want the schedule with everything in the wrong place, because I told you the way that I wanted it and I said it once, and why didn't you catch it? And there's not a lot of grace for human error in the year of our Lord 2025. So what do you do?
Sorry, my brain went like 7 different versions with that. You're going to have to ask that question one more time so that I can fully formulate my answer. Because I like the answer that wanted to come up. There was a part of me that was like, wait, Will, I think that doesn't fully address her question. You probably should ask for that question again.
Okay. I love that. So the question is, you were talking about sort of that you appreciate when somebody hands you something that's broken so you can fix it, and you have a starting point that you can work off of. And I don't know if you were born that way, but it takes a lot of people some time to get to that point where you're appreciative of the broken thing, because I already described what I wanted. So why am I not seeing on paper what I have in my mind?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get frustrated. Like, I don't want this process.
So it's actually fascinating that you say that. And here's where I'm actually going to challenge your thinking a little bit, because what I've discovered is this. When my spouse comes to me and says, honey, where do you want to eat tonight? My immediate response is like, I'm frozen. Like, or hey, what do you want off of this menu? Like every time you order food, what I have found is that I need a jumping off point.
Yeah.
And if I have a jumping off point where so if she walks in and says, hey, I'm thinking Chinese, Greek, or Mexican, and let's do Chinese food. The let's do Chinese food at the end is key, because if she gives me those 3, it's easier to decide. But if she shows me the direction she wants to go, I can then say, you know what? I'm actually not feeling Chinese. Let's do Mexican. There's something about the permission to have an opinion in that moment, to look at those different things. And so for me, this idea of the broken system, if you can put it more in that category and recognize that the broken system is a jumping off point, it's an opportunity for you to look at what's going on and understand more variables than you did before the thing that dreamed into your head dreamed up, right? Because that's a big problem that a lot of people have is, oh, I have too much, figured out in that way. It's just not working. Well, yeah, you've got a lot in your brain that you've made assumptions about, and you didn't even know you made assumptions about it. And so when your systems builder comes back with something that's broken, it's because you as a systems designer probably didn't recognize something.
But that level of accountability is a little bit ouch.
I hear you 100%. As a business owner, that's one of the blessings and curses that we have to deal with is we're accountable for a lot of people's livelihoods.
Yep.
We're accountable for our own livelihood. We're accountable for the mortgage. We're accountable. There's all these different things that we're accountable for. And I have found that building a positive, very productive relationship with your systems builder is key to being whole as an entrepreneur. Because if you can get to that place where you and that systems builder see and understand each other for all the different intricacies of oopses and everything else, all of a sudden things just flow. It just flows so much better. Whereas if you're constantly picking apart, why didn't you do it the way I told you to do it? Well, because they're not you. And I found one of the most vulnerable things you can do as a systems builder is come back to the systems designer and say, hey, the system you designed is broken. That's actually really difficult to do. And so if you as the systems designer can recognize that the thing you dreamed up isn't fully baked, that it wasn't perfect right out the gate, if you can recognize that 9 times out of 10, you're going to have something wrong with it. And the fact that they're coming to you is actually kind of a vulnerable thing to do. If you respond with the level of anger that you initially want to respond with, you will burn the bridge with your systems builder. And then you've got to go back to giving it to systems followers, which that's even more frustrating because those guys don't want anything except a completely finished checklist. Yep. Well, that's not what comes out of your head. What comes out of your head are these like amorphous blueprints of like, this is the direction we're going. And here's the vision of what's happening and the system that needs to be built. And then the builder goes in and turns it into checklists. So I would recommend not burning out your systems builders.
Yeah. Sometimes when we work from our homes alone behind our computers, we think that we're working alone, which is crazy because I am the most dispensable person in my company. My company would work without me. It would not work without any single one of the other pieces. It would be a complete disaster if any other person took a month off. If I took a month off, they literally wouldn't bat an eye. They'd probably do a better job.
Well, and that's when you know, by the way, Avi, congratulations. You've reached a place where a lot of business owners never get to, which is true systems design. And beyond true systems design, you now own a business instead of owning a job.
Oh, thank you. That's so validating.
So like getting to the place where the business literally you could get hit by a bus or be gone for a month and nobody would care. Yep. That's amazing. Now, don't discount yourself because there is a part of this that is important for you to remain involved because it would work for a month, 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year.
Then their heart is gone.
Exactly. There's the vision part of it, the part that drives everything forward. The market changes. Yep. Responding to those market changes, like, okay, now the market doesn't want it that way. It wants it this way. The person who's best suited for that problem is you.
Right.
And so it would survive for a couple of months without you. Maybe.
But then we would need to launch a new product. And it would be time. And we'd be like, well, where's the idea? It's here in my big ideas binder. Look, 83 products to be built out and developed that I am waiting on until they say go, and they're like, and then I'm going to build it, and then we're going to do it. It's going to be great.
Well,
or we're going to trash it because it's going to be trash by that point.
Well, and that's one powerful thing about creating a repository like the one you've just created with those 83 different ideas. If you're willing to give yourself what some PE firms and VCs call an icebox, if you're willing to take an idea and say, ooh, that's a good one, I'm putting it in the icebox so that it can percolate and we can think about it, we can look at it. If you'll give yourself an icebox or a parking lot, that's another way that a lot of people like to describe it, a parking lot for ideas. If you'll give yourself that space to write these down and push them out, really amazing things happen. If you've read Patrick Lencioni's book, The 6 Working Geniuses, this book is amazing. And it talks about how we each have 6 working geniuses. And the interesting thing is most people with ADHD that I run into, their working genius is wonder and invention, i.e. coming up with ideas and then creating the solutions to the problems around those ideas. And then the second thing that I find that they're often in there is galvanizing. They're about like getting people started and moving towards what's there. The other 3 are the bane of our existence in most cases. This is discernment, somebody who's really good at deciding which is the best idea ever. So some people might be there. I absolutely stink at that. That is my worst. I am awful at that. The next one that I found I'm okay at, but not great, is enablement, support, like coddling someone across the finish line. I'm not really interested in coddling or babysitting. That's just not my thing. And then the last one is the absolute bane of my existence, which is tenacity, i.e. checking off checkboxes. I just can't handle that.
Oh, Will. Tenacity.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can understand that your working geniuses are more on the front end of that project building pipeline, and that there are other people who like the part that you don't like, it's a good place to be.
The idea actually was to, we have no meeting Wednesdays, and on no meeting Wednesdays, I'm required to stay out of everyone's hair unless summoned, which is hard to do because I get bored and I want to play. So the idea is to have like a separate content recording where I just pick an idea out of the binder and build the whole business out or the whole product out or whatever it is in an hour or less and just record the process. I don't know if people would be interested in that. Let me know, y'all.
Wait, okay, so you have your 83 ideas. Wednesdays, you get to pick an idea and you build out like when you say build out, do you mean like you
ready to hand over to a systems builder?
Okay. So in my mind, that's a whole bunch of flowcharts. And like I've made the flowcharts all connect, and this is the way it should work, and these are the different sides of what's there. And I've even done a little bit of research to see that this is actually a thing. And I hand them that. I use Miro, by the way.
Love Miro.
Miro is amazing. Miro. Miro is my favorite tool there. It's funny because I used it back when it was called Real Time Board. Wow. It was a long time ago. It hasn't been called Real Time Board in like 10 years, I think.
Right.
But the thing, Miro is Zoom. As Zoom is to meetings and online meetings and that kind of stuff, Miro is that to like online whiteboarding flowcharts. Like that's how good it is at making that part easy.
And if you didn't understand that, you're on the wrong podcast.
Yes. Well, you're on the wrong podcast until you can go like try out Miro, and then you'll be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Zoom is to meetings as Miro is to online whiteboarding.
Yep.
Just SAT traumatizing all the people.
Well, okay, yeah, we all had a hard time with those questions in high school and the like. It was fun. It was fun.
So you mentioned identifying the elements in your life that you can automate.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Great question. So what I found is the first step is that 15-1-1-5, right? Writing down, oh, this is a repeated thing. 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 The next thing you have to ask yourself is ROI. Can I actually make money or get time back enough that it makes sense to automate this thing? Sometimes the automation can be done by you, in which case you don't pay yourself anything except for that you should be paying attention to how much money you're paying yourself. And if it's something that's below your pay grade, you should not be doing it, right? There's a whole bunch of that going on. When you look at automating something like that, you look and say, okay, this is currently taking me an hour a day. And if it's taking me an hour a day, it's taking me 22 hours a month, because that's how many business days there are in a month. And if it's taking me 22 business hours in a month, now if I times that out and I do the math here, and my calculator's not popping up for me. Does everybody remember being in high school or college or even elementary school? Well, no, it wouldn't have happened in college because you probably would have had it by then. If you're as old as me, I'm 39. When I was in elementary school, they were like, we're never going to carry around a calculator in our pockets. So you guys have
a calculator on you all the time.
You guys are going to learn this. Actually, yes, I am going to have
100%. I can watch the moon landing while using my calculator from my pocket.
Yes, you nailed it. So if I'm doing 22 hours a month and I times that 22 hours by 12 months, that's 264 hours. So if that's 264 hours a year, and let's say that I'm paying myself $100 an hour, which is actually pretty low. That's $26,000 that you have now to spend on figuring out how to automate that thing, and your ROI comes back in the first year. You could spend $26,000 on that thing and still automate it. So now that's obviously a very simple version of the equation, and you can change any part of it and you start to understand a little bit more. So if you're looking at where that is, you can begin to understand, okay, what is this actually worth? So I recommend a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Amazing book that talks about like how to come up with that formula.
Yeah.
My experience is that here's the general rule of thumb, because when people ask me that question, like, well, Will, what can I actually automate? Like, what should I actually spend my time on? And this would be like a fourth column or like a third column. So you've got your 5 tally marks on your 15-1-1-5 list. You've got how much time it takes you in that week. And some people like to put it into a spreadsheet and they'll start typing it all in. However you want to do it is fine. At the very end of
11 hours.
Yeah. At the very end of it, you have to ask yourself this question. Could an intern with a reasonable amount of common sense tackle this after I showed it to them once? If the answer is yes, it is absolutely delegatable and probably automatable.
Mhm.
If there's enough if thens and backwards that you're going to have to show it to them 4 or 5 times, that's probably more delegatable than it is automatable. And so that's the general, if you've got a list, let's say you've got a list of 12 things on your 15-115 list, and you've got a tally mark of 5 next to each one, and you're trying to decide, okay, which one of these should I spend the most time on? I would then create another column and I would score it on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely would I be able to give this to an intern with a basic amount of knowledge, or like they really have no industry knowledge around what's going on here, but I could show them in one pass how to do this? Well, that's automatable. Whichever ones get the highest score there, that's where I would probably start in my journey for deciding what to automate.
That's amazing. Y'all, if today's episode hit home for you, William is offering a free 15-minute efficiency audit to help you identify the tasks that you can automate or delegate right now. So if the 15-115 sounds a little overwhelming for you, take him up on his offer. This is your chance to work with your brain and not against it. So Will, where can listeners go to grab that free efficiency audit and connect with you?
Yep. So if you go to equityhammer.com, that's my main brand, equityhammer.com /15-115, with the dashes or without, both make it through. If you head there, there's an offer for that 15-minute call. On that call, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what's going on inside your head and inside your business. And my challenge is this: if I don't blow your mind with some hack or tool or idea on that call in those 15 minutes, I will literally pay you a $50 Amazon gift card. And I will thank you for the opportunity to understand more about my future marketing efforts and who I'm getting in front of and what's there. So you've got nothing to lose. Like at a minimum, you're going to walk away with $50. At a maximum, you're going to walk away with some hack or tool that you didn't know existed that saves you a lot of time.
Listen, y'all, on my first call with Will, I left with at least, 4 or 5 different things. Like, I don't know. Wait, let me Google this. Wait, 1 second. Let me check. 1 second. Give me a second. So please take him up on his offer. Why not? Listen, and if not, go buy yourself $50 of skincare on Amazon. So Equity Hammer /15-115.
Yep.
With or without dashes.
Yeah, with or without dashes, go straight to it. And happy to support. That's my way of giving back in many ways, and it gives me an opportunity to meet a lot of amazing people. And I think in that instance, I've actually never paid out the $50 Amazon gift card because everybody walks away totally blown away. Right. I have a feeling I'll walk across some AI expert or somebody who I really can't. There isn't anything that I don't know about, but I haven't found them yet. So
they're not bored. Like, they have stuff to do. They don't need to play with you. You know what I mean?
That's probably true. Maybe I'll never run into one of those guys because they're busy.
So squirrels, please let me know, what is your biggest takeaway from today? I think for me, it was the systems framework, to really look at your full system and break it down into those 3 separate parts. So everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yep. Designer, builder, follower.
Live in those strengths and delegate or automate those weaknesses. Get rid of them, man.
Yep.
Are you an entrepreneur who has unknowingly built ADHD-friendly systems without realizing it? Or more likely, are you a potentially ADHD entrepreneur that has not built systems that are ADHD-friendly and you're now suffering because of that? It might be time to lean into building those systems and stop trying to fit yourself into somebody else's productivity mold or idea of what you should be. If you love today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to AvyHD Podcast. We have more incredible guests lined up, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Thank you so much, Will, for being here with us. And squirrels, I will see you next time. Bye.